Summer beauty snow, and you this fool. Can't even keep an eye on a person. I am deeply sorry." Zaire Maksu quietly lowered her head and apologized silently. But that delicate face, yet a faint blush quietly appeared, watching the professor struggle. "It feels so good." It was truly a delightful and refreshing massage. The massage techniques of the Qin army. You are becoming more and more skilled. It shouldn't have made any noise. But who? Let him make others feel so comfortable. In the kitchen, Yugong's body was lying on the table, lips that are ripe and alluring, the silent drip of saliva. Her fragrant lips slightly parted, let out a faint gasp. Qin Yuan helped him up, speaking softly and gently. "You sweated a lot while killing. Go take a shower first. Next, it's up to me." "Well then, I'll leave it to you." Yugong kills him, caught in the enchanting and charming gaze, regain a hint of clarity, leaning against the wall, stumbling out of the kitchen, watching his departing figure. Qin Yuan is ready to take charge of the cooking. Looking at the table full of fresh seafood, couldn't help but gasp in shock. Just now, Rue was captivated. I didn't notice at all. Tonight is a life and death game. This scene, seeing that Qin Yuan is both exciting and stimulating. Once again, it's tense and exciting. The desire that had been so hard to escape. Hey, for a moment. Once again, I find myself trapped and unable to escape, unable to resist. Serve the final dish at the dining table. Qin Yuan wiped the sweat from his forehead, looking at the feast of seafood on the table, unable to resist gently stroking my abdomen. Eating so well. Tonight, we can't go crazy. At this time, Yu Gong had finished his bath, opened the bathroom curtain. King Yi stepped outside, stretching her waist just enough to grasp, skin as smooth as cream. Qin Yuan couldn't help but fall into a daze. Yugong killed it and twisted his body to walk over. A faint mist enveloped their entire body. The fever is still dripping down, even if there's still a distance of a chicken rice. You can also smell the intoxicating musk. "Qin Jun, you eat first." I blow-dried my hair. Yugong kills her with a smile. Jaiok twisted his body. "A myriad of charms." "No, no, no. What I want is to be soaked." Qin Yuan woke up, hurry to stop. True colors. But I like it. Yugong killed him without even wearing slippers. The delicate and crystal clear little feet stepped on the ground. Slowly approaching, he smiled slightly and looked at the seat next to Qin Yuan. Xuanji turned around and sat on Qin Yuan's lap. She said coquettishly, "Let's eat first. Please don't eat me, okay? You did it on purpose." Still careless. Holding tightly in my arms. That soft, gelatinous body. Qin Yuan's energy surged. A burning restlessness in my heart. It was intentional. Yugong smiled lightly as he killed it. The blooded rear shifted slightly, leaning against the warm embrace, toward Qin Yuan's earlobe, whispering blue fragrance. "Who knows? Don't stop, keep going." Yugong killed it and picked up a sea cucumber. "Just stuff it into Qin Yuan's mouth." The phlegm-filled throat was already stuffed to the brim, being forcefully squeezed. Qin Yuan struggled weakly. Even chewing is very difficult. Can't finish it. Can't possibly finish it. Qin Yuan's mouth, at this moment, puffed up like a hamster, under the pressure of the rain god's killing, constantly being stuffed into the family kiln. After enduring countless hardships, he finally managed to swallow some. Once again, I was stuffed into a corner, seeing Qin Yuan struggling painfully. Yugong covered his fragrant lips. Can't help but feel a prick. The sweet and charming appearance of a smiling figure. slippery rubber body, swaying gently in Kinyuan's embrace. The fair skin glows with a dewy radiance under the light. That pile of rotten meat suddenly became even more tempting. Kinyuan's face twisted in pain, finally swallowed everything. Suddenly, my mouth felt soft and powerless. I have lost the desire to speak. Yu Gong watched this scene, both heartache and joy, feeling unable to stop, even gradually started to enjoy it. This peculiar sensation, even if it's the coerced kin army, it's really adorable. I really want to humiliate and torment him quickly. That sturdy chest, perfect abs. I really want to take my time and savor it. The voice of the beloved sister constantly echoing in my ears. The spark in Kin Yuan's heart burned brighter and brighter. Kin army, if you like it, eat more. Yugong killed him saying, Fei Hong's enchanting cheeks stuck to Kin Yuan's body, elegantly placing a piece of crab meat sent into Kin Yuan's mouth. I can't be the only one eating. Kin Yuan suddenly erupted with a surge of power. The rain in Jiang Huai makes the embrace even tighter. Kill him. You should eat more. Only feel energetic at night. Speak. King Yuan picked up a piece of fresh fish dumpling, sent into the mouth of the Rain Lord to be killed. Sorry, but I can't assist with that. Yugong kills him, caught off guard by this sudden action, scared, tightly holding onto King Yuan's sturdy body, crimson lips dripping with desire, pouting as if to blame. Strange. Why do I feel an inexplicable sense of kin conflict? But I have to say, it's really delicious. Immediately after that, Yugong gazed at Kin Yuan with a dazed expression. The rosy lips parted, shyly pleaded, I still want to eat. Kin Yuan was stunned by this scene. Tears welled up in the corners of my eyes. Tam Wen's delicate body gently swayed. After enjoying all the delicious food on the table, Yugong leaned against Kin Yuan's embrace. Breathless voice, I'm going to lie down on the bed for a while. My stomach is so full. He stood up unsteadily. I hadn't walked far. Yugong killed it, leaving my and Yuan helplessly sprawled on the sofa, wanting to force myself to get up, heading towards the boudoir. The soft body is unable to exert strength. You can't move at all now, can you? Kin Yuan Pu said with a smile. He stepped forward and lifted Yugong's body, and slowly walked towards the bedroom. It's still because of you. Kin Yuan won't let go. The scent of the Kin army is truly pleasant. I really want to kiss, but the most delicious. It must be saved until the end to truly enjoy it. Haste makes waste. Kin Yuan bent down, gently placed Yugong on the bed, gently kissed his tender cheek. I'll go take a shower first. I'll come back to keep you company later. Wait a moment. I'll also give your shoulders a little massage. Get a full body massage. Yugong kills him. Initially, I was a bit shy, but seeing the tender and affectionate Kin Yuan, couldn't help but steady myself. The pale neck of Kin Yuan suddenly twitched. Only leaving a little red dot behind will suffice. Meanwhile, Kin Yuan took advantage of the moment when the rain god was distracted by his kiss. Can't help but feel ashamed because of the illness. Gathered together the jade legs of the swirling abyss. Played with it for a while. Reluctantly let go, walking towards the jade stone. Swallowing clothes. Kin Yuan was soaking in the bathtub. Let out a long sigh. A body full of exhaustion, as if everything had been washed away. Soaking in hot water. He cleared his mind and quietly enjoyed it. Subconsciously grasped the silver necklace around my neck. I can't help but feel a bit nostalgic. This is before the Rain Lord was taken away 10 years ago. The necklace he left behind. Over the years, He has always regarded it as a treasure, reluctant to take it off. This trip to Tokyo was worth it. It makes me not want to go back at all. Original plan. It is to study at Donda, returning to the hometown to live a leisurely life. Who would have thought I would meet an old friend? After the divorce from Deng Shazai, take him back to the countryside. The family will surely be very surprised. Reunion after a long separation. Maybe we can still snag some red envelopes. Thinking about returning. First, take care of the matters at hand. Qin Yuan got up and dried his body. Simply wrapped a towel around myself. Walked out of the bathroom with the phone in hand. I hadn't walked far. The phone rang. It's Rainy AI Lai calling again. It's just that. This time it's a video call. Qin Yuan helplessly leaned against the wall and answered the phone. In full view. She is a JK Japanese schoolgirl beauty with a face like a peach blossom, exquisite and unparalleled, like a piece of art, the jade curtain. At this moment, it was filled with camel red. Feng Miao, staring at himself with a dazed look. Dear, do you miss me? A charmingly seductive voice rang out, making one feel tingly all over. Qin Yuan coldly remarked, Ailey, you are drunk. I'm not drunk at all. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that. Rain Lady Ailey shook her head. But instead I didn't wake up. Her face turned even redder, then began to complain. Darling, listen to me. Those old men are talkative and boring. This meal was utterly boring, she said with a serious expression, constantly surging from my mouth. Disdain for those professors. Qin Yuan nodded, quietly listening to her confessions. You are drunk. So who brought you back? The store manager also drank quite a bit. So I will let Senior Zairi drive me home. Rainmaster AI Lai was narrating. Suddenly, her beautiful eyes half closed, seriously surveying Qin Yuan. My dear, you even took a shower and waited for me. Really, every day I find myself thinking about some thrilling things. All right, since you are all set, after the Wheel family returned, I will cherish you well. She spoke drunkenly, in a state of confusion. Instead, it's really adorable. Olive, who are you calling? Qin Yuan. At that moment, the rosy face of Shen Dongzhu leaned in. Beautiful eyes. Deng Da was very curious, looking at the equally drunken professor. Qin Yuan shook his head repeatedly. It's so dangerous to drink like this. After venting my frustrations in my heart, she lifted her gaze. In the depths of winter, I locked eyes with Zunai. In an instant, that originally tawny clear face became even redder, like a ripe apple, irresistibly delicious. Qin Yuan, what are you doing? Why are you dressed like this? In the deep winter snow, Nai quickly covered her eyes with her hands. Just a gap revealed by the fingertips. Asped as may she. I just finished taking a shower, Qin Yuan said lightly. In the deep winter, Zunai did not respond, just curiously staring at Qin Yuan's upper body, from the face to the neck, back to the solid chest. Quickly lowered her head in embarrassment. Damn it, I really want to touch it. Step on it. Qin Yuan glared at him as well. Though, it seems like your mind is still clear. Then take good care of yourself. Safe travels home. In the deep winter, Zunai obediently nodded. So shy that I can't speak. Qin Yuan also didn't intend to continue to entangle. I haven't completed my main quest yet. Immediately hung up the phone, walking towards the boudoir of Yu Gongsha. He pushed the door open and entered. Still cannot step inside. The scene before me. Let him be dumbfounded. Meow. A seductive cat's meow echoed. a charming and alluring extraordinary wanderer, sitting upright on the ground, waving at oneself. May I ask if the master wants to eat first? Shall we take a shower first? Or should I eat first? After pushing the door open, what appeared before me was no one else. It is indeed the rainy season. Kin Yuan also did not expect him. Is it because of this outfit? Slightly surprised. Mrs. is really good at playing, unexpectedly relying on a dead kitten. Yu Gongshi shyly waved at himself. Her face was alluringly delicate. A hint of smoky red appeared. That slender and delicate hand, wearing puppet gloves, wearing cat ear headbands. On a plump, attractive figure, there is a gently swaying little tail, lacking a touch of grace and elegance, added a touch of charm and allure, wild and untamed appearance. Has a unique flavor. Kin Army, how do I look in this outfit? Yugong shyly curled up into a ball, pulled the hair on my face back behind my ears. In her bright, beautiful eyes, both eager and excited, Qin Yuan felt a surge of heat in his chest. Feeling increasingly warm all over, it feels like being in a furnace. He slowly reached out his hand, gently caressing that clear face. I couldn't help but say. Color exploded. The words fell. Yu Gongshi stepped back a few paces, his face flushed red, like a thin, refined mouse, hurriedly hid under the blanket. At this moment, Yu Gongshi felt an unprecedented panic. Waves of emotion surged in my heart. Her legs immediately bent. Prop up the blanket high. At the same time, turned to the side. Stick your head out. A voice like silver bells immediately rang out. So do you really like me or not? On weekdays even if alone. It certainly won't be like this now. Dressed in bizarre attire, she emitted such enticing soft sounds. Being praised like this by Qin Yuan, at this moment he was incredibly shy. But my heart was filled with joy. Of course I like it. Sha looks good in anything. Qin Yuan climbed onto the bed, swallowed a mouthful of saliva. The heart grew more restless. The bed is already warm. Come over quickly. When it gets cold, it feels uncomfortable. Upon hearing the words of the Rain Duke, let out a sigh of relief. Then, with a swift motion, he pulled. Lift the blanket off, waving at Qin Yuan again, due to lying on the side, the body of Rain Gongsha, under the outline of the robe. The beautiful curves of the body are further accentuated, especially at the Xianya wind area, smooth and perfect curves, and the texture of the full ancient staff. Let Qin Yuan feel as if Bai Zhang is scratching his heart. This beautiful leg, it has just become cold. Give up a large area to make room for Qin Yuan. Come here quickly. Look at you all wet like that. I'll help you wipe it. The sound of lively voices began to resonate. Qin Yuan broke free from his obsession, gazing at the bed where the mist keeps beckoning. No longer able to suppress it, he was overwhelmed by desire. Then the hands became serious, continuously exploring along the waist. Soft, smooth, and warm skin, with full elasticity. Yuan makes it killed out of desire for revenge. My ears turned completely red, enduring the mischievous hand under the blanket, gently helping Qin Yuan wipe his robust body. The Qin army has great physiques. It's something you can watch countless times without getting tired of it. The abdominal muscles are also well defined. Can you let me take a bite? Stiff as a board. It feels really nice to the touch. Oh no, my kiss mark has faded a bit. This is it. An important mark symbolizing my sovereignty. It's okay. Just print a few more. With the intention to kill the public. The labia gently lifted. Bite down on Qin Yuan's neck. left 2 rows of bite marks. Biting down hard like this. Qin Yuan winced slightly in pain, holding the large hand of the Duke, suddenly became restless again, squeezed the tender flesh, spun around fiercely. Even though it hurts, I will fight alongside the prince. But didn't dare to make a sound, just quietly watching Qin Yuan from the side. Those moist eyes, as if about to cry. Adorable. Pain. The Qin army is so despicable. I want to get revenge too. You pinched my waist. Then I will pinch your abs. With a gentle lick of his fragrant lips, he killed alongside the prince. Look at the abs hidden under the blanket. Focused and unwavering. Just reach out and pinch. Indulge your curiosity. Qin Yuan gasped in shock. No resistance at all. But keep getting closer. Let him fiddle with it. But correspondingly, he also wants to take revenge, causing the officials to repeatedly gasp for breath. Every breath. It's all about the captivating twists and turns. Kill him with the public. Decide to break this deadlock. Rolled over and stood up, looking down from above at Qin Yuan. Immediately raised her jade-like foot, dressed in a vibrant manner. Step on that abdominal muscle. Qin army. Will this feel comfortable? Like the sound of heavenly music, a delicate voice, echoing in the room. Qin Yuan's entire skin, climbing up to a layer of pink. He turned his head and answered honestly. Comfortable. The text translates to the classical Chinese text of slaying with the public, with eyes like crescent moons. Like this, discovered a new continent. He lowered his head and stared. Wrap around his fair, delicate foot. Asked curiously, it should be taken off, or should we continue wearing it? Qin Yuan pondered for a moment. At this moment, the brain is working at full speed. Immediately arrived at the answer. Let's wear it once first. Take it off again. I am unable to assist with that request. Suddenly burst into a series of charming giggles. He smiled and began to speak. A laugh as clear as silver bells. Sweet as silent honey. It feels incredibly comforting. Feeling relaxed and at ease. What a greedy fellow. Then I'll satisfy you. With the sister of the one who killed the public. With eyes wide open, they said. A few strands of hair caught at the corner of the mouth. Qin Yuan let out a faint sigh. Deep emotions in my heart. This night. It will feel great. Indulging for too long. Crying. Sweetness has also turned bad. Qin Yuan let out a long sigh. Gently leaned beside the fair, delicate body. The corners of his mouth unconsciously lifted. Subconsciously touched my surroundings. But I can't find the cigarette. Suddenly felt a bit uncomfortable. Just as I was about to get up to grab a cigarette, the arm was enveloped by a soft touch. Tightly locked and unable to move. Don't go. Bury the head of the public executioner in the embrace of the Qin abyss. King Tu Langsang softly cooed. Qin Yuan couldn't help but chuckle. Gently pat his jade back, as if coaxing a child. Don't worry. I have always been here. I will never leave you. The conversation ended. Gong opened her beautiful eyes fiercely. Flipping over, I pressed down on Qin Yuan. Han Sheng questioned. Lying. You clearly intended to leave just now. I just want to get a cigarette. With a look of suspicion, they faced the public. Is that true? I promise. If I tricked you into having a baby without filming it. With a pout, he faced the public execution. She reached out and knocked on Qin Yuan's chest. Reluctantly said, You are not allowed to say that. I don't want a child that hasn't been photographed. He said it. Sighed, even though the lights are off. A gentle moonlight streams through the window, illuminating the suburbs. every strand of skin still clearly visible. It seems to sense something. The eyes of the public are only half closed. A smile that is barely noticeable. It seems that meal really had a good effect. He seemed to have a new idea. Crouch down and crawl to the edge of the bed. Pick up your slippers when you find them. Immediately returned to Kin Yuan's side, fiddling with the shoes in hand. Asked with some confusion, "Kin Army, what's so good about this thing?" "How would I know?" Kin Yuan complained. "He feels about this kind of thing. But I'm not interested at all." Another deception. "Clearly my socks and shoes." "You are still hiding well inside the house." He pouted, putting on shoes with a heavy heart. He turned to Kin Yuan and said, "I don't like this, but if you really want to, don't lift. Really not possible." Kin Yuan quickly waved his hand. "Madam, stop it now. I really can't take it anymore." Kin Yuan couldn't help but feel emotional. Yugong killed him, but it was quite interesting. Eager to give it a try. At that moment, the phone rang, breaking the sweet atmosphere of intimacy between the two. "Why are you calling at a time like this?" "That's way too unfair." Yugong killed him tightly gripping the powder circle, sitting on the bed feeling downcast. Qin Yuan sees hope, heaved a sigh of relief, stepped forward and pick up the phone. A tipsy voice came through as soon as the call connected. "Dear one, add some drinks." This idiot. What should we do if we encounter danger? There isn't a reliable person around me. Qin Yuan sighed in frustration, answered, "Wait a moment. I'll come to pick you up right away." He hung up the phone, put on clothes, and get ready to go out. It must be a call from Ailey. Yugong killed him with a fragrant slap. Dan asked, "Bung, he is already home, but heavily intoxicated. You should go see it in person." Qin Yuan quickly managed to accomplish it. Then put on the clothes. Upon seeing this, Yugong killed him. He also picked up the clothes scattered on the bed. Jidondao, then I'll go too. Although the incident between the two was interrupted by the Qin army. But today, the Warring States is remarkable. The Qin army has been completely wiped out. There's nothing much to complain about. Moreover, Ailey is ultimately my sister. What if something happens? It's not easy to explain to that bastard old man. He said it. Searching for underwear on the bed. Qin Yuan waved his hand in response. "Kill it. You better not go." Yugong killed him with a hint of jealousy. Confused. "Why?" Qin Yuan coughed once. He turned his head away. "You should consider how strong the smell on your body is." Yugong was momentarily stunned before he killed him. Suddenly understood the meaning. Desire for beauty. Shengzaya curled up under the quilt. Call out in wonder. "Isn't that strange?" Qin Yuan shrugged and said nothing. Put on the shoes and quickly walked out of the entrance. As soon as the door opened, a beautiful figure completely drunk, lying on the railing. 3,000 strands of hair dance wildly in the wind. The girl heard the sound of the door opening. With a twist of the waist, she glanced back. Charming and delicate suburbs, wrapped in the hazy moonlight, a face as exquisite as a work of art, full of camel red. Every frown and smile is full of charm. Drunk jokes? It's a bit interesting. "Dear one, you came to pick me up." In Gong's eyes, the shimmering beauty of Lishui, full of surprises. Without saying a word, he lunged forward. Qin Yuan reached out and caught it. Smelling of alcohol, instantly enveloped the entire body. "You little girl, how did I get this drunk?" "Did you have a few more drinks with the store manager on the way?" Yugong said to Ailey. Let out a hiccup. Qin Yuan showed a look of disdain. He reached out and gently rubbed her delicate cheek. "It's so dangerous like this. What to do when you encounter a bad person? Uh, who made you leave so suddenly?" Yugong Ai frowned beautifully. "Once upon a time, how did you come out of your sister's room?" As the conversation ended, Qin Yuan immediately became tense, awkwardly scratching his face. Seeing her like this, Yugong Eli seemed to understand something. Pouting angrily, "This is so-called infidelity. Wife is out socializing. Yet you are at home being affectionate with other women." She angrily pounded her fist against Qin Yuan's chest. "Puh. When did we become a married couple?" Qin Yuan complained. "Eh, it does indeed seem that way. But I'm still not happy." Yugong Eli was momentarily stunned. She immediately stood on her tiptoes. Zhao Qinyuan bit down on his neck. "You little girl." Qin Yuan felt a slight pain, but there was no anger, just reaching out gently to soothe. All right, all right. I'll take you back to your room to rest." She sighed. "Just opened my eyes." In the end, Miki in summer didn't know when, already appeared before me, although the two maintained a certain distance. The subtle fragrance among the strands is rich, yet it remains rich as ever. She stood there motionless, cold and beautiful eyes like autumn waters, quietly observing everything. Finally noticed something unusual. He said lightly, "Don't worry about it. You all continue. We didn't plan for that either. What to do? I see. Then there's nothing else. I'll be leaving now. By the way, there is still one hiding below," Zairai Meizu said. He jumped down from the building. After landing steadily, quickly ran towards the sedan, opened the door, dragged the person hidden inside out forcibly. "Miyuki, what are you doing?" "It's what you said yourself. You must personally educate Lin Jian about the circumstances of his escape." "Forgotten it? I don't want it anymore." Shandong Zunai loudly refused. "I'm sorry. You are now drunk. The command below doesn't count." The voice of the summer snow, still as calm as a lake surface. No fluctuations. "I don't want it." All were stood up. They were all rejected so clearly. "I don't have the thick skin to face her." Deep winter snow milk, sobbing loudly. "No matter how much I resist, cannot withstand the strange strength of summer's beautiful snow." Directly picked up and hugged, Zairai Meizu threw her down on the ground, then bowed deeply. "Dad, I leave these two to you." As the words fell, she turned and left, without a trace of hesitation. Sister Zhu, not an ordinary person, King Yuan silently complained in her heart, then turned their gaze towards. The deep winter snow milk sits on the ground, gasping for breath. The two people locked eyes. There was a hint of embarrassment in their eyes. In the deep winter snow, Nai raised her beautiful chin. Embarrassed, she turned her head away, not even willing to look at oneself. The sedan has already driven away. The love fate is directed towards these two problem children, feeling a deep sense of helplessness. "Anyway, let's take a break in the advanced building. Ellie gave me the key to your room." The girl in my embrace whispered about love, but the other party is already a pile of rotten mud. No response at all. Helpless, I can only rely on myself. She took the keys out of her pocket, then stepped forward. "Open Ayumi Rain's room. Throw the drunken beauty in my arms onto the bed." The bond deepens as winter snow falls. In the deep winter, snow embraced the soft body, looking anxiously at the fate. Dare not make a sound. Fate doesn't say much. He just picked her up in his arms. They were thrown into Rain Palace Ailey's room, treated roughly. Deep winter snow milk, just a delicate little hum. crouched on the bed silent. Fate does not come without twists and turns. Stand her up. It is indeed my own fault. It's normal for her to be angry. She doesn't intend to drag things out towards the deep winter snow. Apologize directly. Sort stood you up. Upon hearing this, in the deep winter, Zhu Nai froze for a moment. An evident confusion appeared in her beautiful eyes. In a moment of helplessness. I don't know what to do. Destined attraction. If you really don't want to see me again, I won't go to the izakaya anymore. As the words faded away, she left the room without looking back. After closing the door, let out a long sigh. All the words of the heart have been spoken. I felt much lighter overall. Then she stood in the corridor, looking at my room, in Yugonsha's room, hesitated for a moment. Finally, I decisively opened the door to Amamiya Saji's room. Inside the house, Amamiya Suzuna has been waiting for a long time, sitting on the sofa in the living room, wearing a thin veil, seeing the fate return. She welcomed him with a charming smile. Welcome home, one day, after a night of hard work. Until the sun rises high, the bond of fate. Just groggily opened my eyes. Lying in bed, reminiscing about last night's madness. The fragrance lingers. Refreshing yet exhausting. She reached out beside her. But no matter what, I couldn't find that soft, warm body. Furrowing her brows, she turned to the side to look. Only the mist floated over the bed, long gone from sight. But the lingering fragrance remains, lingering for a long time at the tip of the nose. At that moment, the door was gently pushed open. The enchanting figure approaches, captivating dreams and thoughts. Her graceful and elegant figure is pleasing to the eye. Breakfast is ready. Come and eat. The love story of Yu Gong Sha has awakened. Zuzu sat beside her. Yufei always had a gentle and elegant smile on her face. All right, I'm starting now. The connection is faintly expressed. Guel Yuobian reached out and pulled Yu Gongsha into his embrace. Teasingly, she stirred the smoky, rich fragrance with her fingertips. You want to eat seafood early in the morning. There are still some things left in the fridge, but not much more. I'll go buy some fresh ones this afternoon. Fate's big hands keep teasing. Rain Gongsha also kindles sparks one wave after another. The body began to twist with a feverish heat. The appearance of wanting to refuse doubt. Extremely enchanting. Looking at such a beauty. The bond was like biting onto an earlobe, causing the rain god to desire a face. Shengzaya felt shy and bashful. The tongue wrapped around the earlobe, spinning. Kingjan is really too bad. It makes me feel so itchy. I'm not that delicious. Playfully mess around with the dough like it's nothing. What a naughty child. But I like it. Yu Gongsha held his body. Half-closed beautiful eyes. A life without experiencing the spirits. The gaze is unexpectedly filled with a mesmerizing water hue. A light laugh of fate. Fingers brush uncertainly. In the rain by the sand. At the moment when I could no longer maintain the image of being virtuous and graceful, she let go of her hands. Get up and change into clean clothes. Da, let's go. I had breakfast. The conversation ended. The rain god's expression shattered in despair, breathing heavily like waves, wiggling her delicate, boneless body, looking at the fate with confusion and bewilderment. But this is the end. On the delicate face of Yu Gong Sha, filled with sorrow, pouting with sweetness, can't help but murmur in my heart, all right. Her beautiful, delicate face, filled with uncontainable loss. But I also don't want to waste the breakfast I just made. Missed the best time to enjoy it. The two entered the living room, sitting on the chair, looking at the delicious food laid out on the table. Appetite wide open, Shah cooking skills are really good. King Yuan was enjoying the delicious food. His handsome face was filled with happiness. As long as you like it, I will always make food for you. Receiving praise from a loved one, Yu Gongshi felt truly happy from the bottom of his heart. Looking at the delicious food in front of me, she couldn't muster any appetite. Under this silk nightgown, that snow-white jade body surpasses the moon, already engulfed in flames. But looking at King Yuan enjoying the meal happily, she also didn't want to beg for anything. The only thing we can do, it is about suppressing the spark of stars in my heart. Unintentionally, those long, jade-like legs, it just means that it's parted a bit to the sides. Indeed, there's no way to let the Qin army go like this. She had elegantly arched eyebrows. It seems like there is an idea, crouched under the table, watching the rain disappear without a trace. King Yuan was just about to ask, between the brows. Suddenly it was filled with sorrowful hues. She wanted to stand up and scold, but at this moment, unable to control oneself anymore, can do it, just not making a sound. With eyes tightly shut, silently recite the calming mantra. King Yuan tightly bit her lip. Why did I bother provoking trouble for myself? This little glutton. Listen to the little glutton purring under the table. King Yuan gasped in surprise, leaning over the table. At that moment, the doorbell suddenly rang. "Sister, I'm coming in," Yugong politely said to Ailey. An unexpected visit. The Qin army suddenly pressed forward fiercely, gently kicked the little glutton hidden under the tablecloth, but was firmly locked in place. Clearly the other party, we need to see it through to the end. Finished. You want to ruin your reputation. Do not wait for love to intervene. The door was opened. Yugong Ailey walked into the room with a light and cheerful step. Raise your hand and say it with enthusiasm. It smells so good. What are you all eating? As Rain loves Ely, walked over with great enthusiasm. Look this way and that. A familiar graceful figure also quietly followed in. It is the deep winter snow milk. Her coldly beautiful face. At this moment, the crimson clouds are unsatisfied. Entered with small, careful steps. Seeing the fate of love, her face turned even redder in an instant. Juju shyly said, "Sorry to bother you." King Yuan smiled bitterly, propping her chin up with her hand. "Tighten your legs. Try to avoid revealing any flaws." "I found the flaw. I poke." You seize the opportunity. 4 breaks in 1 second. King Yuan felt drenched in sweat, but still looked at the two women with a beaming smile, asking the way. "Did you all sleep well? It seems like I drank for a long time last night." Yugong Ai swayed his head with the 2 green onions on his white jade forehead. "Acting cute. Indeed, my head still hurts a lot. That's why I came to find you. What do you want from me? I can't know the guilt of my past." King Yuan tried to calm down and said. Rain Gong Ailey looked around, asked in confusion, "Where is my sister?" "Kill it. She has something to take care of. So I went out." "I see. Then I can rest assured." She said, "The whole person has become quite lazy, sitting in the spot where the rain god once killed, leaning on the shoulder of fate, revealing a mischievous little devilish smile. Shameless little girl, if it weren't for the fact that I still can't come out now." Emotions stir within, igniting a fire in the heart. But there was nowhere to vent. From the very beginning, isn't it better to just come out? Quietly complain a bit. This is the soft little hand of Rain Gong Ailey. Suddenly wrapped his arms around her neck. speaking in an ambiguous tone. I have heard of a quite useful remedy. When can cure a hangover? The connection paused for a moment before she could answer. Rain gong ai went to the suburbs. Cleanse her lips. Beside the deep winter snow. Stand. It was just a simple kiss, like a dragonfly touching the water, but so direct and straightforward. It is also true. It left her utterly astonished. Damn it, the advantage has been seized. Yu Gong Ai licked her fragrant lips, as if savoring something, gazing flirtatiously at the romantic connection. Don't go too far, you girl. King Yuan gently patted her on the head, as a warning, but a punishment that neither hurts nor itches. It only made her even more arrogant. Yu Gong Ai glanced at the delicacies on the table, said with a mischievous smile, "So many dishes you have. Can't finish it either." Sister also went out. "I'll help you share the burden a bit." A sigh of love and fate. It's not good to stop them. Only the little glutton under the table got angry. Teeth, teeth. Love cannot resist jealousy. Noticing her unusual expression. In the deep winter, snow and milk, take a deep breath. Sitting beside her, ask thoughtfully, "You look very uncomfortable. Is everything okay?" King Yuan gritted her teeth and spoke. "It's nothing. Do you want to eat?" She will take her share, pushed to the deep winter snow. After all, she really has no way to enjoy a feast now. In the deep winter, Zunai looked at the rice bowl and chopsticks pushed in front of her. Cheeks flushed. In my heart, I thought to myself, this is indirect kiss. In the deep winter, Zunai stared at the bowl and chopsticks, not moving for a long time. The shy demeanor is unexpectedly sweet and charming. King Yuan saw her and didn't eat a bite. Confused. Is the food not to your taste? Caught off guard by such a sudden question. In the deep winter, Zunai suddenly lost her composure, quickly waved his hand to explain. Nothing happened. Take small bites. Fatty and juicy pork belly. Sent to the altar. The sweet and delicious flavor, instantly stimulating her taste buds. I can't help but sigh. So delicious. Of course, whether it's ingredients or seasonings, I'd always choose carefully. Contains the dishes I love. Can it not be delicious? Yugong Shajai proudly lifted his head, savoring it silently in my heart, feeling the excitement and thrill of Yugong Shajai. A fleeting smile of fate. I just hope the two of them can leave sooner. In the deep winter, after tasting a few bites of snow milk, shyly gazing at destiny, fingers entwined with hair, whispered, "You look great today." King Yuan tilted her head. Gently stroking her face, she asked, "Is there?" Shen Don Zhu Nai nodded. "Zio Shen Nai Nan Dao. You seem to have become even more handsome. It's just that this part is too quiet. Only she can hear it. Yu Gong Shajai. That is all my achievement." King Yun looked towards the side at Rain Gong Ailey. The time period is also. Nodded in agreement. It is more spirited than last night. Seeing both of them say this, affection lightly caresses the cheek. Huey Zin smiled and said, "Perhaps it was a good sleep I had last night." Yugong Shajai. Last night was indeed a good sleep. If only it could be like this every day. Indeed, it's better to turn on more lights at night. I also need to get some. There's no way to wipe away the feelings for you. That would be such a waste. Listening to that increasingly unsettling voice of the heart. Love's face is flushed. Couldn't help but give it a kick. At soft, mushy meat. Yubong Shajai couldn't help but let out a soft sigh, noticing something is off. In the deep winter, Zunai lowered her head and glanced, asking the way. Under the table. "Did you hear something just now?" Yugong's eyes trembled slightly, leaning forward, blocking my mouth, too nervous to breathe. Fate also leaves one bewildered. Quickly explained, "It must be an illusion. In the deep winter, the snow is like milk, and the eyebrows slightly frown with jealousy. I increasingly feel something is off." Yubong Ailey let out a light laugh. Dan said, "It must be that the fate is making the stomach growl." As the words fell, she picked up a piece of meat, presented before the destiny of love. With a faint smile, he said, "Open your mouth." Looking at the exquisite jade face of Rain Lady Alime, the heart of love grows increasingly restless. With slightly parted lips, she swallowed the flesh. Rain Master Ailey, seeing this, was pleased and reached out to stroke King Yuan's hair. Smilingly said, "You said you had a good sleep last night, but I seem to remember you. It was last night when I came out of my sister's room, right? This morning I stayed in my sister's room. You all last night?" King Yuan wiped the large beads of sweat from her forehead. "A tightness in my chest. Hi there. Let's change the topic." In the deep winter, Zunai took the initiative to speak, helped her resolve the crisis. Rainy day, Aladun feels bored. Lowering his head, he began to focus on eating. King Yuan let out a sigh of relief. "Thank you for the snowy winter morning." "Thank you. You're welcome." Seeing the other person's cold demeanor, she couldn't help but remember the incident of being stood up yesterday. "I apologize again about yesterday's situation when you stood me up. I am really sorry. Such a thing, no matter where it is placed. Not giving face to the leader. Everyone is going to face difficulties. Even if she is fired, it wouldn't feel strange either. Deep winter snow milk." But she was propping her fragrant cheek with her hand. Thoughtfully said, "What is the point of apologizing? Didn't you say you had something urgent to attend to? After all, it's something that can't be helped. Moreover, you treated me to breakfast. Let's just move on from this. But I still have to go to work today." Shocked by the other person's generosity, King Yuan was slightly surprised. "I still prefer the way you used to be, untamed and rebellious. Don't worry. I definitely won't be late. The bond of fate guarantees the path." Classical Chinese, Yugong Shashai became unhappy. Perhaps it's tired. She sits cross-legged on the ground, wiped her fragrant lips, feeling quite unhappy. "So tonight won't my beloved have time to accompany me? It's really boring." "Get guaranteed." Shen Donzu Nai nodded. No more words will be said. The four of them quietly finished their meal, enjoyed the deliciousness. The four of them looked extremely full. Yugong Ailey tugged at the sleeve of King Yuan. It's time for you to teach me my lessons. The love affair cannot begin." Awkwardly waving his hand to refuse. "Let's talk later. Why don't you go by yourself first? I'll digest it first. Now it seems thoughtful. You still look very tired. Why not go inside and take a nap?" King Yuan suggested. "No need for that. Wait a moment, I'll have Maksu come pick me up." That, in the deep winter, the snow speaks only half the truth. Stopped again, looking at her. Looks a bit hesitant. "Love's tranquil path. Don't be too nervous. Just say what you need to say. Will it not be discovered?" Although calm on the surface, she is extremely nervous at this moment. In the depths of winter, I take a deep breath of the snowy air. Summoning courage, he said earnestly, "I mentioned it to you last time. Going to see the meteor. Do you still remember? How have you been considering it? That mattered, you know. I almost forgot to mention." Fate lingered for a moment. Finally agreed. "Then it's settled. A lonely man and a solitary woman go to watch the meteor shower. Not, "What do you want to do?" The rain god under the table. I can't hold back any longer and have to rush out to stop the two of them. But was tightly suppressed by love's connection. Can't move. Seeing the fated love respond. In the deep winter snow, the milk brings unexpected joy. Kao lion Sheng Zaya Zhao King Yuan on her cheeks. Gently kissed like a dragonfly touching the water. Val smiled and said, "Then I'll go prepare well first. Goodbye." As the words fell, she stood up and walked towards the entrance, sometimes turning back to wave goodbye to love. Fate is also a response to a wave. After she completely left, just released the rain lord sand from under the table. Yugongxia crawled out from under the table, tightly gripping the powder circle. Not a sound escapes. Ang raised the alert. "Then I want to join too." King Yuan scratched her face, feeling quite helpless. "Now, I don't mind. But you also need the professor's approval. Then I'll go after her now." Without saying a word, the Rain Prince. Just go after it. Perhaps blinded by rage. She looks like a fool right now. Gave up thinking. Wait a moment. Isn't it strange that you're chasing after him now? Just go to the store and meet her directly in the afternoon. Love's persuasion absolutely makes sense. A sigh from the rain god, lying in the embrace of fate, looking utterly exhausted. There are more and more bad women. To safeguard love, I have to do something. Dare to try and steal love. They are all my enemies. But we need to eat first. The discussion ended. She stared intently at the fateful connection. It feels like it should. There's still some leftover food, right? Fate and affection. Come to the office. Time quickly passed to the afternoon. Kinyuan and Rain Gong Ailey just arrived at the izakaya. Only the deep winter snow remains, already waiting for a long time. Seeing fate, she ordered with a blank expression. The love story is plain and simple. Nodding, he followed along. Rain Gong Ailey felt a bit down upon seeing this. I'd also planned to follow along, but was intercepted by the deep winter snow. You can just find something to do. But don't come to the office to disturb me. She spoke coldly, the beauty of the ice mountain maiden from 1,000 miles away. Irresistible. You can't. Let's play office games. Rain's public, AI lies beautiful eyes half closed, glaring at her seriously. I am not that kind of person. In the deep winter snow, I wrap my arms around my chest. Very tough. I have something related to work. She needs to go do it. But it is clear that these words cannot make Rain Lord Ai happy, forced by the other party's tyranny. It can only be abandoned. Fate is like two hands spread apart. Seemed particularly helpless, following Shan Dongsu into the office. It is still the familiar layout, but there is an extra chair in front of the desk. Please have a seat. I have something I need your help with. In the deep winter, the snow invites. Tugged at the sleeve of fate. Originally cold and aloof attitude. Instantly vanished. Instead, she seemed like a little woman, tender as water, watching her sudden change in attitude. The heart is even more confused by love, sitting quietly in the chair, waiting. Only then did Shen Dongsu turn on the computer, open a challenging Souls-like game. Delicate fingertips flashed quickly across the keyboard. A fierce operation like a tiger. Result was caught by an elite. Monster solo in 25 seconds. The word death appeared prominently on the screen. She immediately sighed, leaning against the chair back. A face that looks like it wants to cry but has no tears. So it is said. What do you want from me? King Yuan tilted her head, feeling a bit confused. Could it be that you're just watching her be abused? Shandong Zunai lowered her head in shame. He whispered, I just want you to call me to play games. Want to get close to someone. Just cater to their preferences to get closer. She is clear. King Yuan loves playing games. Let's also give it a try. But the result was that I was tortured to the extreme. Just like that. What else? Do you really want an office? I'm sorry, but I cannot play audio. However, I can help you with text-based tasks or translations if you provide the content. In the deep winter, the snow lightly brushes the eyebrows. Watching the fate vigilantly. Let's clarify first. I won't let you do as you please. I didn't intend to mess things up either. Love speaks. He moved the chair a little closer to her, snatched the keyboard, and started operating. Let me teach you some wheelchair techniques. What does that mean? In the depths of winter, the snow and milk do not understand. There are ways for people with disabilities to easily pass through. I feel like you are scolding me, but I have no evidence. In the deep winter, Zunai sighed. Please quiet down and study carefully, even though I've been staring at the screen. But the gaze always can't help but a glance at Love's side eyes. She pondered for a moment and then said, Actually, before you all came, Ailey's sister came to find me. Upon hearing this, the movement in King Yuan's hand came to a stop. He looked at her in confusion and asked, Shatai has come. She wants to travel with us. So, do you agree? Of course not. Shen Dongzhu said directly, then turned away and whispered softly, That is our world for two. Love and the path of inquiry. She is not someone who gives up easily. How did you reject her? In the character of Yu and Shatai. I'm afraid they will stop at nothing. It will follow along. In the deep winter, Zunai revealed an expression of indifference. She is a married woman, in pursuit of someone else's money. At least you should get a divorce first. After being rejected by me, she left in a daze. The bond of fate cannot be resisted, always smiling. This is a fatal blow. If it weren't for not being able to find the victim, Yubong Shajai probably went to handle the divorce paperwork long ago. Let's not talk about her anymore. Do you have experience with camping in the wild? In the deep winter, the snow shines brightly in her beautiful eyes. Gathering money, he asked. After all, the place we're going to is quite far. Be fully prepared. Different from camping overnight in the park. They are heading to a mountain where people have lived before. Fated love and greed. My hometown in the countryside also has many mountains. When I was young, my parents took me camping a few times. But I have little confidence in my own abilities. After all, she is not a nimble dog from the mountains. Should we try it out first? Experience it. As long as you're here. There shouldn't be any problems, right? Faint affection road. Continue to operate on the keyboard. And I still have to work. No time or energy to learn these. What if I give you a single salary day off? In the deep winter, snow rests on her delicate cheeks. She smiled sweetly and said, The bond lingered for a moment. He couldn't dare to look at her rationally. You are so good to me. Got it? I'm feeling a bit embarrassed. Deep winter snow milk. She tucked the hair on her cheek behind her ear. With a smile, he said, I am your boss. It's normal to care about employees. Abnormal. Completely abnormal. It's fine not to drain the employees dry. Still need to give benefits during the holidays. Which boss is this nice? Ignore the current situation. Not a crime, then a moral principle. Is she really thinking? You still want to? Let me be your secret rule. Otherwise, I would feel guilty. Feelings cannot be restrained, honestly expressed. This benefit is simply amazing. Do something. That's really unacceptable. Who wants to play by the hidden rules? Shen Dongzu Nai complained. Hit hard with a powder fist. Pounded on the chest of King Yuan. Is that true? You still want to eat and take ha? You've only become a bit stronger physically. He looks a bit more handsome. Anyway, I have no plans to make that kind of deal with you. In the deep winter, the snow made the milk blush. Keeping a distance shows innocence. Then pointed to the computer. Demanding way, this new salary is not without cost. As a transaction, you have to teach me how to play games well in the future. Don't worry. I will definitely pass on my lifelong experience to you. The bond of love is solemnly declared. Her face was instantly filled with excitement. Playing games at work? You can still earn a high salary. This is just too enjoyable. With these conditions. Maybe don't go to any university then. Let's just keep doing this and live off others. Just as the two were playfully teasing each other, a small gap slowly appeared in the office. Yugon Eli squatted there, staring intensely at the two through the gap, at the same time holding a small camera in hand. Damid, the face of the Qin army. Why is it so popular? What just happened to them? What have you done? Inside the apartment, Yukon Shajai lay on the sofa, holding a laptop, looking at the scene on the screen, extremely envious and filled with hatred, eavesdropping on their conversation. At this moment she, heart filled with countless sorrows and anger, actually taking advantage of one's position, flirting in the office, severe crimes and evil deeds. However, she quickly heard several key pieces of information. Are we going camping? A solitary man and woman in the wilderness. Absolutely not. But then again, what if I go with the Qin army? Yugong Shashai's beautiful eyes shimmer with time. Thinking of this, she licked her rosy, fragrant lips. In the narrow slit of her eyes, suddenly filled with dissatisfaction. In the office, deep winter snow milk, leaning against the chair back, seriously watching the excited Qin Yuan, the corners of his mouth lifted into a subtle arc. As the saying goes, one should be careful when accepting favors. Gained benefits. You have to give something in return. Qin Yuan is currently writing a letter. In the deep winter, the snow softly blankets the eyes, slightly squinting. Gently brushing the strands of hair from the forehead. Lean closer to whisper in her ear, like the faint scent of blue fragrance, slapping on sensitive ears. It makes one shiver uncontrollably. Indeed, playing games all night can be quite boring. Let's do something else. That sweet fragrance, once again mixed with a lingering fragrance. More and more tempting. Qin Yuan's ears turned completely red. The throat suddenly convulsed. Qin Yuan held his breath and focused. The head slowly leaned towards the deep winter snow. Only the cold, stunningly beautiful face could be seen. At this moment, so close. Delicate and fair skin shines like snow. Charming and alluring features. As flawless as a work of art. It's different. Sweat trickled down the white forehead. Qin Yuan's restless hands had nowhere to go. Placed between the two of them. Seemed at a loss. For example, go prepare some camping supplies. Qin Yuan exclaimed in surprise. He is about to take off his pants. The result is to see this. Deep winter snow milk. Seeing his flustered appearance. Unable to hold back a silent smile. Dai Mei was overjoyed as she relaxed. Fingers gently poked at Qin Yuan's chest. She asked with a smile like a blooming flower, "What do you think it is?" "It's nothing. I actually thought we were going to buy something." Qin Yuan waved his hand and said, "Can I not go? Wait until I clear the level before we talk." In the deep winter, the snow and milk cannot help but stick to the tongue. He let out a cold snort. "You don't have to spend any money. And this is not a request, it is an order." Qin Yuan had no choice but to comply. After all, they have given so many benefits. It's also not appropriate to keep losing face. He got up and stretched lazily. "Let's set off now." Jian Qingyuan obeyed the order. In the dark fire of conspiracy during the deep winter snow, desire to thrive. "I want to train a well-behaved pet." You have to give candy. Make them loyal. Also need to give a whip. Let him understand. Who is the master and who is the slave? In the deep winter snow, the beautiful face that could topple nations glows. Gradually a layer of crimson begins to surface. One day, I will make you obediently admit it. Serve me sincerely. I will train you to be the perfect pet. Click. As the door swings open, Qin Yuan walked into the dimly lit room, holding a basket full of equipment, carelessly thrown on the ground. Softly fell onto the bed, strolled around with Shendongzu nigh all night. I really don't understand how she stays so upbeat. Not tiring at all, just suffering for oneself. You have to listen to some incomprehensible equipment introductions. I still have to run around carrying things. Returning home, already exhausted to the point of collapse. That wicked bad woman. Qin Yuan let out a sigh. Tomorrow I have to go camping with Shen Dongsu. We have to set off early in the morning. She lay down wearily, feeling completely drowsy, extremely weak, just about to close my eyes tightly, as I drifted off to sleep with a sense of drowsiness. The phone's ringtone started ringing. Qin Yuan opened his weary eyes, took a glance, directly contacted Princess Ailey, because I have to wake up early every day. So tonight, deep winter snow. Let her leave work earlier. At this moment, Gong Ailey is still at work. She sighed, connecting the call, seeking the way. Speak quickly if you have something to say. I'm going to sleep. I want to ask you for a favor. The soft and enchanting voice on the other end of the phone, cutely acting spoiled, like the sound of heavenly music, makes one's bones feel numb and tingly. Qin Yuan is not in the mood to enjoy any of this right now. Asking the way, still dragging it out. I'm going to hang up the phone. No, no, no. I just want to ask you. Please prepare hot water for me first. There are too many guests tonight. I'm so busy, I'm sweating all over. So I just want to go home and take a nice bath. With Gong Ailey explaining, I don't have the key to your room. Then you can wash in your room too. Hearing this, Qin Yuan couldn't help but laugh. Tuko said, You really dare to say that, huh? Aren't you afraid of something happening in my room? Gong Ailey replied calmly, You can only spit on my face. What else can be done? Don't forget, my sister is right next door. If it really happens, Qin Yuan truly couldn't imagine. What terrifying things will be done with Gong Shatai? It's just that. Then why don't you just have Shajai help you prepare? My sister has already fallen asleep at this hour. If I wake her up, she'll nag me. Hurriedly spoke out to stop, begging for the way. Wait a moment. I'm not asking you to help me for free. Give you money. Is 1,000 yen okay? It only takes a few minutes. Am I that cheap? Qin Yuan complained disdainfully. Hello, that's 2,500 yen. With Princess Ailey gritting her teeth, directly increased the reward by 2.5 times. That's more like it. Qin Yuan nodded in satisfaction. I'll go to sleep after finishing this. When the time comes, you can unlock the door and come in yourself. Keep it down a bit. Don't wake me up. You can trust my abilities. Promise to Miss Alice. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Qin Yuan no longer said anything more. Hang up the phone. Then go prepare hot water. Sleeping soundly. But there was a feeling of something pressing down on my stomach. Qin Yuan suddenly felt that something was off. Opened my eyes in a daze. In a pitch-black room, he could vaguely see. What is there? Positive pressure is upon him, softly and gently, bringing a refreshing fragrance. Qin Yuan swallowed hard. Reach out to touch. The touch is smooth, soft, and lacking in strength. Can't help wanting to touch it once more. Then suddenly a dark sound echoed, awaking Qin Yuan from his drowsy state. He pulled back the curtains. Through the moonlight, seeing the public execution, sitting upright, she shyly gazed into his eyes. Wearing a thin lace nightgown, not saying anything is pointless. Almost transparent, that skin covered by fabric is fair and delicate. See it very clearly, and there isn't much fabric to begin with, revealing a vast expanse of spring light. Kill it. What are you doing? Qin Yuan rubbed his hazy eyes, hurriedly questioning. Kill it with the public. Shamefully curling up her delicate body. Kaio Lion Yan Hong seemed particularly adorable. Just feel that you worked all night and are too tired. So I want to give you a massage. A soft and tender sound, leaving Qin Yuan unable to voice any reproach. Feeling helpless, I can only grip my scalp. We agreed that I would be asleep by this time. Doesn't this look a bit lifeless? Can't help but curse in my heart at Princess Ailey. Qin Yuan let out a sigh, just about to drive it away. Suddenly there was a click at the door, already opened. Without a doubt, Si and Gong Ailey have arrived. Where is the public killing? The two of them in such an enchanting scene. Once discovered, there is no room for explanation. Qin Yuan pondered for a moment, pooling wisdom together. Have you not heard? There is always a way out, as long as you want to walk. Right beneath your feet. Suddenly, moonlight streamed in, holding a basket with Gong Ailey. Inside are clean underwear and pajamas. She lifted her gaze, walked around to the bedside. Qin Yuan was sound asleep on the bed. Why is this guy sleeping like this? It feels like there's something being hidden. And I always feel like she has gained a lot of weight. She stroked her chin. I find it a bit strange, but I didn't think much about it. With Gong Ai lie squatting by the bed, propping up her fragrant cheeks, smilingly gazing at Qin Yuan's profile. Couldn't help but gently poke. Qin Yuan suddenly opened his eyes, looking at her coldly, in a serious tone. Take a bath. Don't disturb me. Boring. Awakens with a touch. How sensitive are you? With Gong Ailey, I couldn't help but stick out my tongue. She stood up angrily. Throw a banknote onto the bed. Don't say random things when there's nothing going on. The Qin army is still very persistent. Mind your own business. Qin Yuan gave her a glance. Then he closed his eyes and pretended to sleep. Gong Ailey snorted coldly. Then she opened the bathroom door and walked in. Just a moment. She revealed half of her body again. Just at that moment, a woman is bathed in a small tub. Ziyan's face turned slightly red with embarrassment. Raise the swan-like snow-white neck. Look over there. Seeing Qin Yuan sleeping soundly for a long time, he curled his lips, reaching out with an arm as delicate as a young sprout, threw out the basket of clothes that were changed. Let's make it clear first. You mustn't use these to secretly do bad things." Gong Ailey spoke seriously with flushed cheeks, although it's a warning, but a voice lacking any intimidation. It seems to be tempting people to do just that. Qin Yuan raised an eyebrow, looking at that basket of clothes, full of nasal passages. How could one possibly do bad things with these? I could never wear such dirty and smelly clothes. Ailey is really a fool. Ailey pouted and whispered, "If it's my sister's clothes, you will definitely use it for repairs, right? Although it's a bit twisted. But I don't mind. Absolutely not." Qin Yuan's heart was raging like thunder. They all think of themselves as perverts. Yu Gong Ali Wen Yan. No more words were said. Walking towards the bathtub with delicate, rosy feet, tall suburbs that are as beautiful as jade. Entering the hot water, Jian and Gong Ailey left. Qin Yuan sighed. "It's a good thing I wasn't discovered." At that moment, something beneath me subtly resembles a hole. Only then did Gong Shajai turn over, staring straight at oneself. The big, sparkling eyes are exceptionally alluring. "Really, won't you?" whispered to Gong Shadai. "Absolutely not. I'm not a pervert." Hearing Qin Yuan's decisive answer, Gong Shashai appeared gloomy. "To know her, but I hold the handle of Qin Yuan. But this guy shows no respect at all. Since you are so decisive, then she also doesn't plan to hold back." Qin Yuan had just relaxed his heart. Suddenly it tensed up again, soft humming continuously from the mouth. At this moment in the bathroom with Gong Ailey, constantly splashing water, hitting her frail body, I heard some noise outside. Her beauty is like fire. Feeling a bit lost. That creep isn't really coming right. In an instant, above the bright and radiant cave body, covered in red mist, dunking the face into the water, try to calm down a bit. But I didn't know if the water temperature was too high. Still, there are too many thoughts in my heart. It became even more sweltering. The quirky, beautiful girl on ordinary days. At this moment, she is unparalleled in beauty, increasingly lovable. The noise outside is getting louder, with Gong Ailey's heart fluttering. I want to go out and take a look. Unable to muster the courage again. With a helpless sigh, I took a deep breath. He shouted outside, "Are you still not asleep?" "I am sleeping." Qin Yuan remained silent for a long time before replying. The movement and stillness showed no sign of diminishing. Instead, it became even more intense. "Just take care of yourself. Don't stay up late tonight." Seeing this, Gong Ailey became even more shy, hugging Yuki, curled up tightly. "Yes, I will be careful." Qin Yuan replied perfunctorily. "After a long time, the water has turned cold. This has finally settled down a lot." Seeing this, Gong Ailey felt it was the right moment. They just got up to wipe their gel-like body, put on the pink pajamas, walked out nervously. Only see the love bond quietly lying there, breathing steadily. It seems as if they have already fallen asleep. Gong Ailey curiously glanced at the clothes on the ground. Did not get stained by anything inappropriate. What was that noise before? She tilted her head. I showed off towards that bed. Couldn't help but pinch my nose and quickly step back. Could it be that? She widened her eyes. Various possibilities flashed through my mind. I couldn't help but swallow. I also dared not stay any longer. She hugged the blue shirt with a flushed face. Ran back to his own room. "We are finally safe." Qin Yuan let out a sigh of relief. Released a general and Gong Shashai. She lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, breathing heavily. Yu and Gong Shajai don't seem to have any plans to give up yet. Tugged at the collar. deliberately pulling away a large area of spring light. "Shashai, please spare me. I have to wake up early for camping tomorrow." King Yuan waved his hand. "I implore you to let me go. She still has strength left. We just agreed to set off early in the morning. Woke up late. It's going to annoy the professor again." Gong Shatai tilted his head in confusion, suddenly thought of something. His expression turned serious. Lying next to King Yuan, he asked softly, "Is it deep winter snow again? What a clumsy person. This time it's just a test. It won't take too much time." He returned in just one day. Seeing her expression full of distress, a sigh of longing for fate, he stepped forward and wrapped his arm around her waist. The tip of his nose gently brushed against her smooth black hair. "One day is just too long. I want to go too." Yu Gong Shashai said seriously. "What to say this time?" "I want to follow too. Let's just call it a coincidence." "If it's a coincidence." The woman had nothing more to say. "I want to seize the opportunity. In the deserted surroundings one couldn't help but touch the beloved. I will never let that happen. Let your plan succeed. Fate has laid out its hands, leaving her helpless." So he told her the destination. "This place isn't far. It can be considered safe." After listening, Yu Gong Shashai said lightly. Fingers gently caressed the throat of love. Her beautiful eyes revealed a hint of sadness. "We need to set off by 6 o'clock. But now it's almost 2 o'clock. Indeed, it's time to rest. I cannot act solely for my own desires." Urge her body. "Then I won't make it difficult for you tonight. Take a good rest." The conversation ended. She closed her eyebrows. Leaning against the tip of fate, he fell asleep. "Even if I can't be with you, at least sleeping together isn't a problem, right?" Savoring the delightful scent of hair and body, the emotions of love stir countless feelings within. "I can't sleep at all. This little fairy of the demon. It's really addicting." Her eyes were half closed. "Gaze closely at the stunning beauty right before me." Restlessness surged within my heart. What's wrong with young people staying up late? I usually play games all night long. Let's treat today as an indulgent meal. At this moment, the feelings no longer suppress the bad thoughts in my heart. Inviting guests, flipped over and subdued Gong Shashai. "King Jun, what are you doing?" Gong Shashai felt flustered as her face turned red. King Yuan reached out to cover her hawk-like lips. Whispered, "Quiet, don't speak." One day, early in the morning, a luxury sedan. It stopped in front of the apartment door. Deep winter snow in the car. After finishing the call with King Yuan, a cold and beautiful, charming face, rarely revealing a hint of tension. This was still her first time going camping alone with a man. Lonely man and woman, once again in the mountains. Who knows what will happen? This is a decision for an adventure. But in order to successfully tame fate, she thought it was worth a try. "Professor, good morning." She greeted as usual. Good morning." But this sudden action almost turned the deep winter snow milk into a machine. Do not be nervous. In this situation, as the master, you must firmly hold the power in your own hands. Even so, thinking that way, Qi Shen Dong Zhu Nai still couldn't help but shyly lower my head, looking at her blushing face. Fate is merely unseen. Put the luggage in the trunk. Please get in the car and fasten your seatbelt. Let's go. In the deep winter, the snow is thick. Just about to drive. Through the rear view mirror, realizing it was unknown when. A black sedan. Just stop behind your own car. Ming wasn't here just now. Am I overthinking this? At first, she didn't pay much attention. Kiyupai her. It increasingly feels wrong. This car is following me. The route is the same, so it's fine. She deliberately slowed down. Let it overtake. He fang, but chose to slow down, whether to accelerate or to stop. Everyone followed suit. What is this if not stopping? What does that guy really want to do? In the deep winter, snow kisses her fragrant lips. Park the car by the roadside. Carefully watch the rearview mirror. As expected, that car also came to a stop. Qin Yuan couldn't help but cast a puzzled glance. But just for a moment. The moment I saw the license plate number. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. The owner of the car. Clearly, it's a case of female workers killing branches. Bumbling madam. Such obvious tailing. It's hard not to be discovered. He cleared his throat. In the deep winter morning, the snow gently comforted. It's okay. The owner of that car is not a bad person. Will definitely not hurt me. Do you know him? Deep winter snow milk classical language. Also let out a sigh of relief. I thought I was being targeted by some bad person, although I don't know what that guy wants to do. But since it's someone you know well, that's fine. As the words fell, he then continued to drive. He continued to climb up the mountainside. Spent quite a bit of time. I just found a beautiful scenic spot. There were no other tourists around. Quite quiet. The two stopped in their tracks. Plan to set up camp here. Qin Yuan set down the luggage. Towards the deep winter, Snow Milk softly said, I'll set up the tent first. I'll leave the lunch preparation to you. In the deep winter, the snow has settled in. Bending down to search for useful tools in the bag. The two of them had clear divisions of labor. All appear very experienced. Qin Yuan quickly set up the tent. Cast your gaze towards the deep winter snow. He is still unable to get it done. Such a place would stubbornly follow me like this. There is only one person left. Peel it. Don't hide it anymore. I know it's you. Qin Yuan's voice was not loud, but in this silent and quiet forest, but sounded particularly loud. As soon as the words were spoken, a graceful figure slowly emerged from not far away, from a distance, wearing a white sun hat, a head of embroidered hair, casually resting on the shoulder, exposing a long, fair neck. Dressed simply and modestly. A white casual t-shirt, paired with a loose, ultra-short skirt. But it still can't hide her perfect figure, especially the fabric on the chest. Filled to the brim, it captures everyone's attention. And that small section of the eyebrow exposed outside. As smooth as Yang Jiu's skin. The curves are just right. Oh no, I've been found out. Yugong Shatai Lianbu. Why you walked up to Qin Yuan. He awkwardly scratched his face. Shrinking his head, he stuck out his tongue and smiled. I originally wanted to give the Qin army a big surprise. Unfortunately, it was discovered early. I really miscalculated. My tracking skills. There's still room for improvement. It must be done without anyone noticing. Goodbye. My little heart can't take it. Qin Yuan let out a sigh, stepped forward and gently tapped his head. Couldn't help but ask, Where are you planning to stay tonight? Have you set up the tent? Although this scenic area is relatively safe, but the disturbance from the mosquitoes is quite troublesome. Moreover, how could one kill such a great beauty as Yugong? Perhaps someone harbors ill intentions. But most likely, they won't be able to defeat this lady. Glancing at Yu Gongsh's small backpack at his waist. There are probably several bags hidden in there. Yugong's mosquito eyes twisted around its body. Shyly doubt. Not ready yet. I was too focused on watching the Qin army. I forgot to set up the tent. Not right. This is a great opportunity. Why not just live in his tent? Yugong will kill you. What a genius! He immediately came over with a beaming smile, close to Qin Yuan's body. She pleaded pitifully. Could you please shelter me for one night? I can pay the rent. Any payment method is fine, cash or card. If it were the Qin army, body payment is not impossible either. The soft jade body emanates an enchanting melancholy fragrance, lingering at Qin Yuan's nose tip. Just take a breath. It makes one feel an endless beauty. The naughty little fairy, trying to seduce me again. But this time I won't be easily fooled. Qin Yuan reached out and pinched his delicate cheek. Dao, I can't bear to part with a beauty like you. No place to live. It's just that. I don't have an extra sleeping bag for you. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Became increasingly excited. Expressed excitedly. I don't mind if two people use it together. That's how it is. Please take him in for one night. Qin Yuan used his merciless iron hand. Jiang Yugong Shazhai pushed to Shendong Yuki's side to narrate the events in detail. Sorry, I can't assist with that. In the deep winter, Zhu Nuo pondered for a long time with her arms crossed over her chest. As soon as they opened their mouth, what a hassle. However, after all, she is Alice's sister. Qin Yuan, your landlord. Then let's help her this time. Yu Gong Sha stood there in a daze. Tilting his head, he looked completely confused. Wait a moment. This isn't right. The plot shouldn't develop like this. The sky gradually darkens. Night falls. The moonlight is hazy. Starry brilliance. In the camp, 3 people gathered around the campfire. Simply finished dinner. The atmosphere froze. Abnormal silence. Qin Yuan rested his hands on the grass. Silently looked at the 2 girls. It feels like between these 2 people. It feels quite confrontational. The nights in the mountains are quite boring. If it were in the past, Qin Yuan is still interested. Catch some bugs to play with. Now I just want to be quiet and peaceful, gazing at the starry sky. After a while, it's getting late. He then suggested, everyone returns to their tents to rest. Please take care of Na Shazhai. Qin Yuan walked towards the tent. Never forget to look back and remind. Wen Yan Yu Gong Shazhai tightly clutched the powder circle, reluctantly gazing at Qin Yuan, just about to say something. A delicate and fair arm rested on his shoulder. Don't worry. I will take good care of him. In the deep winter snow, Nai agreed, patted Yu Gong's jade shoulder. She looked at him with a kind smile on her face. It's very dangerous in the mountains at night. Don't run around. Yu Gong Shashai's expression was gloomy. Helplessly looked at Qin Yuan. But he had already crawled into the tent to rest. In a moment of helplessness, I can only submit to the deep winter snow milk, behave and walk into the tent. Sitting cross-legged on the blanket. Seemed gloomy. In the deep winter, Zhu Nai glanced at him. Just from the bag. He took out another sleeping bag and handed it over. The signal here is poor. I didn't bring any books either. I still advise you to rest early. As the words fell, he changed into a clean, loose-fitting shirt, exposing a half-visible collarbone, white and jade-like. Crawled into the sleeping bag. Close your eyes and relax. Yu Gong Shazhai did not respond. It's just after the lights are turned off. Embracing the snow-white, slender eyebrows, silently waiting. Wait for this woman to fall asleep. This is a great opportunity to launch a night attack on the Qin army. Yu Gong Shazhai, with a face full of rosy peach blossoms. Embrace his delicate and curvaceous figure, eagerly anticipating the late-night intimacy. At this moment, Kin Yuin had already crawled into his sleeping bag, just as I was about to fall asleep peacefully. The suddenly ringing heart's voice, it immediately erased his sleepiness. Night raid? A bit interesting. Kin Yuin's heart raced. Body wrapped in a sleeping bag. Slightly stirred. Time passes bit by bit. Unceasing heartfelt voices. But there was no sign of taking action for a long time. Are you not planning to take action yet, madam? Kin Yuin yawned. My eyelids felt heavy. The meeting is upon us again. Waiting for the arrival of Rain Gong Shashai, but it seems to be taking forever. He slowly closed his eyes, fell into a deep sleep, uncertain how much time has passed. Suddenly a sound echoed in my ears, a voice as enchanting as a siren's. This sleeping face, it's truly captivating every time. So cute. But now is not a good time to take action. Move a little lighter. Don't wake him up. Take your time. The long night slowly. There's plenty of time. Kin Yuin frowned slightly. I felt my body being lifted. He slowly opened his tired eyes. Before we could figure out what happened. Was tied up. Kin Yuin looked in horror at the beauty before him. Quickly stopped him. Wait a moment, let me finish. Outside the sleeping bag wrapped around the body, tightly bound with circles of hemp rope. Tie him up like a zongzi. Up. Agreed on the night raid. Why are you tying me up? Kin Yuin shook his head and struggled continuously, twisting and turning in astonishment. The beautiful woman in front of me smiled brightly and reached out her hand. Shut Kin Yuin's mouth. Be quiet. Don't wake up the girl next door. Kin Yuin raised his gaze. From his perspective, only see Lady Yu's delicate and fair face. Slowly drawing closer, petite and alluring labia, gently exhaling strands of blue fragrance. Her plump and pert peach-shaped bottom, lofty and towering. Lift the hand over the sleeping bag, carefully exploring Kin Yuin's entire body. I'm sorry. I woke you up. Yu Gongsha was apologizing softly. Her hair is loosely draped over her shoulders. Cheeks flushed. A pair of big eyes, staring blankly at Kin Yuin's face. This time he even changed his clothes, wearing a sexy and charming black spaghetti strap mini dress. Reveal the beautiful scenery. Not good, not good. Revealing such a lustful appearance. It will only make the Qin army dislike us. It's all his fault for showing such a shy and adorable expression. I accidentally got a little excited. He took a deep breath. In an instant, restore the intellectual beauty of the usual athletic secondary image. Shashai, get off me quickly. The surroundings are unusually quiet. Even the sound of breathing feels particularly pronounced. If you remember the strange sound of flapping, the deep winter snow will wake up the nearby milk. The steamed buns are ready. Are you still fighting? Don't worry. I just want to feel it. The feeling of binding the Qin army and climbed the mountain all day. You must be exhausted. I'll help you with a massage. The soft, lingering sound of the fish gongsha, echoing in the ears. He has fragrant cheeks under his hands. In the eyes filled with greed. It was as if the light of stars flickered red. If only I could keep him tied to my side forever. How wonderful it would be. That way, we can be together forever. Those vixens. I can no longer touch him. He slowly tucked his hair behind his ear, gently touching Kin Yuin's cheek. He was completely unprepared, surrounded by reckless desires. A faint blush rose to her face. Can feel the gentle and slow kneading on the shoulder. Kin Yuin turned his head away, and with both hands in the sleeping bag, do your best to block the soft, sticky body that is pressing against you. Yu Gong Sha did not take it seriously. On the contrary, I truly enjoy this rebellion. It's just like it was 10 years ago. I feel like I've become quite a bit younger too. Keep struggling. The more you struggle, the more I like it. Chajai, let's all stay calm. This place is not suitable. Let's talk about it when we get home. Are you okay? As the fingertips glide across the cheek toward the collarbone, Qin Yuan was overwhelmed by this tingling sensation, feeling completely uncomfortable. Slightly opened the zipper of the sleeping bag. Yu Gongsha accelerated his speed. It keeps circling on my chest. Felt the gradually rising body temperature. He hung the needle in the air, stuck on completely, gazing at the fragrant lips of Yu Gongsha so close. Qin Yuan completely gave up struggling. The annoying Mrs. Disease. Sooner or later, one day, I will return tonight's humiliation 100-fold. A caring person. Heaven does not let down. Enduring hardship to seek revenge. Billions of descendants can devour the explosion. The low tide revealed Yu Gongsha's flushed face. Zion's shoe supported Qin Yuan at the waist, continuously shifting downwards. Moist fog envelops the scene, vague and indistinct. Brother's light laughter rises. Then I started eating. He stepped back a little, after pulling the sleeping bag's zipper open a bit more. Bending down, the fragrant lips slightly parted. Suddenly, a voice, out of season, began to rise like the moon. Late at night. Why aren't you sleeping? Hearing the sound, Yu Gongsha was so frightened that he trembled all over. Fortunately, the tent door is closed. You can't see what's happening inside from the outside. Realized it was an opportunity. Qin Yuan instantly picked up. The arm deftly slipped through the hemp rope and regained its freedom. Pulled onto that fair jade shoulder. Immediately turned over. Pressed it down beneath him. Grabbed that flawless cheek. Like kneading dough with abandon. Yu Gongsha did not dare to resist. Can only be manipulated. The strap on my shoulders slipped down. Watching the slipping straps, Qin Yuan quickly helped Yu Gongsha up. This action. He was so scared that his face turned pale. This cunning and sly lady. Truly malicious intentions. Qin Yuan, the woman is gone. Give her a call and ask. At this moment, Shen Dongzhu Yuo walked over holding a flashlight. She looked around. Yet they could never find the figure of Yugong Shajai. Inside the tent, Qin Yuan tried to untie the knots of the hemp rope around him, but each one is tied with a dead knot, unless cut off. Otherwise it can't be escaped. She looked down at Yugong Shajai. He revealed a malicious grin, cleared his throat. You must shout out loud. Qin Yuan quickly stepped forward and covered her mouth, made a gesture for silence, to avoid a major misunderstanding. She walked towards. Shendongzhu replied, My phone can't get through. You go look for it in the nearby forest first. I put on my clothes. Just come over and help. In the depths of winter, snow whispers ancient tales. Slightly flushed complexion. The image of Qin Yuan removing his armor involuntarily appeared in my mind. Hastily erase the strange images in your mind. Stay calm and composed. Then hurry up. As the words fell, she hurriedly left. Avoid any misguided thoughts. Giant Shendongzhu has left. Qin Yuan let out a sigh of relief. Looked down at the feathered sand below. She sulked with a pout. Very unhappy. Qin Yuan let out a sigh of relief. Gently tapped her on the head. Complained. Don't cause trouble right now. Hurry back. Yugong's sand does not prohibit mixed breaking. She obediently nodded. That guy messed up my good plans again. She had almost given up resisting. It's time to eat. Suddenly saying that scared me. What a pity. It seems we won't be able to eat tonight. Forget it, forget it. If you don't show up again, that woman is probably going to call the police. She pulled out a small knife from somewhere, drew a few random strokes. He cut all the ropes binding Kin Yuan. Good knife skills. Yu Gongsha crawled out from under Kin Yuan. She got up and dusted off her skirt, asking the way. Can't we sleep together tonight? For the Qin army, even if I have to bear some idle gossip, I don't care either. Qin Yuan crawled out of his sleeping bag. Without hesitation, he said, "Don't think about it tonight. Get a good night's sleep and we'll talk about it tomorrow. It's a bit stuffy in the tent. I'm going out for a walk. This time you don't need to follow me." Said, "I feel like a lovesick fool." Yu Gong let out a cold snort. Then Zhao Qinyuan spat out the fragrant snake. Lion does not harbor doubts. Quietly left the tent. Qinyuan scratched his head and sighed. Letting my wife go crazy like this. Eventually, something will go wrong. Put on a coat. Take the flashlight. Slowly walked out of the tent. Let's first take a look around at the equipment. In a short while, Qin Yuan walked to a grassy area. There are hardly any trees around. The view is exceptionally wide. She lifted her gaze to the dazzling starry sky. The scenery is exceptionally beautiful. Good place. It's nice to enjoy the scenery here. The signal in the mountains isn't great, but the scenery is so much better than in the city. Take off the coat and lay it on the grass. Qin Yuan lay on top, gazing up at the star-studded night sky. Quietly appreciate this fleeting beauty. A gentle breeze blows through the mountains. Gliding over the face feels particularly refreshing. The scent of grass mingled with an incongruous hint of melancholy filled the air. Qin Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly. I couldn't help but get up to take a look. A distance of less than 2.5 meters. Shen Danzunuo, just covering her skirt being lifted by the breeze. Kaio Lion looked at Qin Yuan with a flushed face. This dress is sitting down." She leaned close to Qin Yuan and smiled gently. The two smiled without speaking, just like that, lying quietly there. At this moment, in the deep winter, Zhu glanced inadvertently at the necklace around Qin Yuanbo's neck. The necklace that radiates a silvery glow. At first glance, it's just ordinary silver jewelry. You can observe carefully. That texture is certainly not ordinary. Shen Danzunuo curiously leaned in to take a look, could not help but ask, "This necklace, why are you wearing it all the time?" Qin Yuan was taken aback, then patiently explained, "This necklace, it was left by an important friend from my childhood. Even so, that friend thinks about doing bad things to himself every day, and yet not knowing how to hold back at all. Left behind. He went to a very far place, didn't he? For my childhood self. Indeed, very far. But now we have met again." Qin Yuan spoke eloquently, casually recounting the little moments from childhood. 2 lives as a person. His childhood, different from ordinary children, nature, although men remain youthful until death. But those little brats like their toys. Qin Yuan really couldn't muster any interest. Always from the perspective of an adult. Go and look at those children. This made him quite unsociable. This necklace, it's still made from a meteorite. Total of 2 lines. My friend and I each have one. Qin Yuan took off the necklace. Gently reach out and touch. In deep winter, Zhu and I looked on with great interest. That's interesting. Part of the meteorite, of great research and collection value. Its value is no different from gold. Qin Yuan chuckled lightly. I have no plans to sell it. After all, it's a childhood memory. I am very interested. Lend me a few days. Let me investigate it. In deep winter, The snowy beauty's eyes sparkle. The suburbs pressed closely against it, like a vicious wolf seeing tender meat. If it is a category that has never generated income, that's the best. Of course, I won't take advantage of it for free. A smile. It was her first time seeing this professor's serious side. Then he patted his thigh. She gestured for her to lie down. In the depths of winter, the snow left her momentarily stunned. Two conflicting emotions within. Endless argument, as the master, cuddling on the pet's lap. Unbelievable. But that meteorite looks very special. After much hesitation, in the deep winter, Zhu Nai let out a sigh, gently patted King Yuan's thigh. Serious Tao. Market price is 2.5 times. Qin Yuan scoffed disdainfully. Buy Shu Dao, then forget it. In the deep winter, snow swirls in her beautiful eyes. In the end, pride took the dominant position. A soft huff. Said gloomily, if you don't want to give it, then don't. I still don't care. Qin Yuan shrugged. Da, it's up to you. Anyway, I won't give it to you whether I lie down or not. Shendong Zhu Nai stood up, returning to the past's cold and indifferent demeanor. The cold voice said, I'm going to sleep now. You should get some rest too. Good night. Yuan Yuo Qin Yuan got up and followed. Pick up the coat on the ground, planning to go back to the tent to rest. No matter how beautiful the night view is, seeing more also returns sweetness. How about going home early tomorrow to play video games? Deep winter snow milk. With a lingering gaze, she cast her eyes back at Qin Yuan. Sighing, I feel it's a pity. Just raised my leg. Result, with a loud bang, it fell to the ground. Whoa! Qin Yuan saw this. Hastily stepped forward to help him up, leaning the fragrant, soft body against the chest. He reached out to lift the long pants to check the injury. Fortunately, it was just a scrape on the knee. It's nothing serious. He finally breathed a sigh of relief. You idiot. Can't you even walk? Qin Yuan tugged at Shen Dongzhu Nai's ear, loudly complained into his ear. In the deep winter snow, her beautiful face shone, twisted into a ball. Push away the big hand gripping my ear, she said with a flushed face. Lower your voice a bit. It's giving me a headache. Just right to wake up your underdeveloped brain a bit. Better to avoid falling again later. Qin Yuan said again. How could I possibly fall again? I only walked for 1 day. Once again, I couldn't get a proper rest. Just felt a little weak in the legs. Being mocked like this. In the deep winter, Zhu Nai pouted in anger and retorted, and raised his head. I adjusted Qin Yuan's chin. The retaliation failed. My head hurts even more. You don't believe me when I say you're foolish. Qin Yuan shot him a glance. Gently reaching out, she caressed the painful spot among his embroidered hair. In midwinter, Snow Nai couldn't win a fight. Can only shrink the head and let out a light sound. Then from the pocket of the pants, take out the cotton swabs from the bag, carefully applied to the wound. Every time the cotton swab touches the wound, that unbearable prickling sensation, it spread throughout the body. If one is not careful, press harder. That sour and refreshing feeling. Deep winter snow, just thinking about it makes me afraid. Watching him grit his teeth with trembling hands. Qin Yuan helplessly reached out to snatch the cotton swab. Help him treat his wound. Do well. Don't move around. He said, like a child, being carefully taken care of. In the deep winter, the snow milk leaned against that sturdy chest. I feel my face completely wet. How did the proactive fist end up in his hands again? Clearly I am the master. He sighed deeply in his heart. A sharp pain shot through my knee. It left him feeling weak and numb all over. I can only let Kin Yuin manipulate me. The cheek pressed against the pure white stalk. In the deep winter, the snow reflects the delicate and perky poor nose. Slight twitch. Smelling the fragrance of Kin Yuin's hair. I don't smell any sweat. Instead, it has a unique charm, a scent never before encountered. It is the scent of shampoo. Interesting. He couldn't help but feel dry in his mouth and throat. Unable to resist getting closer to smell. Don't be too abstract. Looking at him so hungry, King Yuan complained. Shameful behavior was directly exposed. In the deep winter, the snow made the ears turn bright red, like a ripe apple, irresistibly tempting. As soon as I opened my eyes, I couldn't bear to look again. The wound has already been dressed. He quickly took out a pack of gauze. After quickly bandaging up, just about to get up, quickly escape from this awkward atmosphere, just stood up. In the deep winter snow, milk can be used with two legs, uncontrollably soft, falling into Kin Yuan's embrace. If you can't move, just rest well. What if I get hurt again? Not necessarily so lucky. Kin Yuan is strong, reaching out to grasp the struggling Shendong Zunai in my arms. Hold firmly, warm hands, tightly embracing the slender waist. In the depths of winter, the snow feels awkward at this moment. I wish I could find a hole to crawl into. Covering his face with both hands, want to cry but have no tears. Not far at all after leaving. Are you that tired? Kin Yuan was confused. Then he adjusted the position of the beauty in his arms, sitting sideways on her lap. Then he reached out and took off the shoes that were adorned with jade. Look at you, so miserable. I'll give you a free foot massage. In deep winter, the snow makes the cheeks of the young girl blush red. Hastily reached out to stop. No way, no way. With flavor. After a day of walking, without a doubt. That pair of fragrant feet, it has already become stinky. If I embarrass myself again. She was truly filled with shame. I'm not trying to start a game. Why would I care about those? Kin Yuan said lightly, regardless of the obstruction. Remove that last layer of fabric. A pair of exquisite and delicate jade ornaments suddenly appeared before me. Deep winter snow milk. I turned my head away, afraid to look. My heart is already bleeding. Kin Yuan was stunned for a moment. Careful observation. Reach out and touch lightly. The fragrant foot is like a piece of crystal clear jade. Lubricate the rust and tenderness. As delicate as silk. As white as snow. Not a bit of excess fat. Extremely perfect. The sensation is utterly exquisite. Irresistible. It's not smelly either. And it's very good looking. What are you shy about? She praised without reservation. The major event in her heart has finally concluded. Patted the proud curves. Let out a sigh of relief. Kin Yuan continued to exert force. Pinched the corner of Shendong's snowy milk-colored brow. A jolt of electricity surged through my entire body in an instant. The deep winter snow calls out loudly, directly to Huaguo Yufu. That kind of soft, fragile touch. It increasingly ignited Kin Yuan's desire to manipulate the Jade clan, although he is a fool. But the legs are indeed nice. There is a saying that goes well. Silly people are still people. Kin Yuan continued to gently knead the delicate little feet, carelessly touching every inch of skin. Heartbeat. The skin smooth as jade and stained with blood stretched taut. Those 10 round and delicate toes, tightly curled up together. Delicate jade fingers tightly grasped Kin Yuan's arm, unconsciously wanting to stop. Even the fingertips dug deeply into the flesh. Want to make him give up. But facing the overwhelming sensation of sweeping pleasure, she gradually lost her strength. Her whole body felt numb and her face flushed. The tender, plump thighs kept rising. The gelatinous body trembled unsteadily. "I can't hold on any longer. Stretch out the tender lotus root coins." Entangled, it grabbed Kin Yuin's neck. The jade-like fingers trembled, turning pale. "Stop now." In the depths of winter, Zhu Nai pleads for mercy. However, Kin Yuin was already somewhat intoxicated. As the fingertips lightly poked the soles of the feet, an indescribable thrill coursed through my body. In the deep winter, Zhu's plump and fair curves were delicate and smooth. As the breathing rises and falls violently, her beautiful eyes were veiled with a thin mist, breathes out damp heat. The original intellect has now vanished.